too thin, but we have something called ecological Buddhism. I helped to draft this document that was presented without any fruit to this COP15 conference that took place in Copenhagen. But I have to speak to the other two people who helped to form this organization, which so far has really been little more than a website, to make it into a functioning, active organization, ecological Buddhism, and then it should open its membership to other people. So then anybody from Buddhist Global Relief who wishes to join that would be welcome to do so.
Yeah, it would definitely be too much for us at this point, but you know, I mean, the thought came to my mind that we should be helping animals, you know, and the environment and humans, but we can't do it. I mean, it's just
I think we have to sort of keep a specific mission.
But you can almost consider all three of them as important.
Yeah, and they're all sort of closely interwoven. Yeah. Like one of the things, like we're devoted to providing food relief to those who are impoverished. But now, why are so many parts of the world afflicted with food shortages and the poverty that makes that's responsible for hunger and malnutrition? I mean, there are two contributing factors. One is the particular economic system which we have, whereby the U.S., the United States, subsidizes agriculture to produce certain limited number of grains in great quantities, more than is needed, so that we flood other markets with the surplus produce. And this puts the farmers in these other countries out of work, out of business. So the crops that they grow, they can't sell on the market. They fall into poverty, and they're not able to earn enough to buy the food that they need. So that's one contributing factor. And another contributing factor is global warming itself, which is transforming the geography of the Earth, so that areas that are now or until recently have been quite fertile are starting to dry up. And when they dry up, then the crops don't grow there. It leads to increasing drought and famine, or else to flooding, which destroys the crops, and salinization. Maybe Tom has more.
Well, I was thinking of Tom's comment. I've been involved with some conversations with the Chief Scientist Office at EPA here in the United States. And we've been talking very concretely about the links between human health and environmental health.
Yeah.
In fact, the identity between human health and environmental health, so that ultimately, I think the logic of what we're learning about the world and our impact on the world will ultimately say that they are one problem.
Yeah.
But in terms of BGR, it's often a question of scale. I mean, I actually could see BGR supporting a community forest program in some place like Nepal, where a community is, or you know, there's the tree hugger movement in India. There are movements that might fall within our scope in some logical way too. But I mean, I take your fundamental point. I think the other thing I wanted to say is that the way that we use animals is extremely disturbing. The FAO says there may be 35 billion chickens on this planet, which is about 6 times as many chickens as there are people. But they're being killed very rapidly.
I know.
But it's an amazing thought that there are that many chickens, and that's far disproportionate to the number of, obviously, the number of chickens there should be in the world. And so I think there are ways that bringing things into balance and harmony and education are essential to all of this too. So.
And the way the chickens are grown, have you
It's
seen
horrible.
the film? It's called
horrible.
Food Incorporated.
Yeah. You can't go in. You go into one of those chicken houses and you're knocked out by the stench, and the poor birds are kept in darkness all the time until they're killed. You know, that's horrible.
And then just another thought: the use of animals as food. The meat industry is one of the major causes of global warming.
That is true. Also,
it's funny how it's all connected.
That's right.
Behaviors are all connected.
Methane and the whole.
I'd just like to say thank you. I don't think your thoughts are, I find them very relevant to the times we're in. It feels like a really You know, I feel a great sense of appreciation that you talk to these territories and name them so incredibly clearly, and you know, it's very integrating, it's very clarifying. I'd resonate with Sister Nanda Bodhi, Sister Santajita, in terms of the articulation of things thought about and felt. You packaged it incredibly clearly, and I feel it is a time that the message you've given needs to be out there, and not just you know, a sort of a default to traditional teachings and representations in a way that don't really hit the heart in the way that, you know, with the urgency and the immediacy and the integration and the vision that you just did. So that's all a way of saying thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I wonder if you could speak to, you know, how this model jives with, let's say, traditional Theravadan practice, which is, you know, do you get to the transcendent through striving on your own personal mental development, whereas kind of the people in this room and what your model is speaking to maybe see a different way to the transcendent, to nirvana. And how does this, and this is kind of a very general question, how does this, well, how do we do this?
But, okay, maybe start again with the question.
So
I just want to get...
The traditional practice is to
Yeah.
develop meditation to the point of getting
Yeah.
out the wheel of samsara,
Yeah.
nirvana. And it would look at the kind of activities we're engaged in here as maybe, not a waste of time wouldn't be the word, but maybe not direct path to practice.
Yeah.
Whereas what I think I'm hearing you say is there's a place in this pathway to nibbana for opening the heart and acting in the world and being off the cushion while we're doing that. So we're not being off the cushion while we're doing that.
Yeah, that opens up sort of another aspect of the scheme that I'm still working on in my mind. It's not yet fully, clearly defined, but it makes things a lot more complex, but I'll bring this in anyway. And this is going beyond, let's say, traditional Theravada Buddhism or just Buddhism itself, but I'm trying to look at trends and possibilities within world spirituality as a whole, trying to get some overall picture of what's going on. And I see what I would call two different types of movement taking place within, what I call it, the spiritual life, spirituality, the spiritual career. One is a movement, you don't have it, does it?